Greetings, programs. My name is Wretch, and I'd like to welcome you to a retrospective of one of my favorite arcade games. This is...
X-Men.
Thank you, Magneto. X-Men the arcade game. If you were in any arcade during the mid-90s, you probably saw this, and if you were like me, you spent far too much money than was reasonable. And I'm going to be taking a trip down memory lane and probably going to be playing with all 6 characters and see how far we can get. And if we beat it in a reasonable time, so much the better. So let's get to it. Alright, as you can see, we have Cyclops, Colossus, Wolverine, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Dazzler. And we'll just go down the line and start with Cyclops.
Cyclops.
In the 21st century, evil mutants led by Magneto aim to destroy the world. Humans can do nothing against the power of the evil mutant. The only hope is X-Men.
And as you can see here, it looks like the Sentinels are the cookie-cutter villains here. The Goombas, if you will.
Go and save the city.
You heard Captain Picard, let's get to it. Now, as you can see, the Sentinels are human-sized in this game, very different from the comics and the cartoons. But, you know, the Sentinels were probably the best cookie-cutter villains that they could possibly have. Your cannon fodder villains. Also these guys, which I believe are Geonosian soldiers. And can, you know, pack quite a punch. Now I'm going to try and go through all the characters here and kind of give you my insight onto them as we go along. As you can see here, Cyclops, also known as Scott Summers. Not my favorite character in the X-Men, but that's not for lack of trying. The cartoon and the movies and whatnot have kind of portrayed him as goody two-shoes. I mean, he does have his awesome moments, like when someone's threatened or when he does command decisions. But, you know, Cyclops is not... he's not really designed to be liked or popular in the same realm of like a Wolverine or a Nightcrawler or a Gambit or anything like that. He's the... You know, he's the captain of the football team you kind of love to hate. But this was back before he actually showed his hair and wore the leather jacket and, you know, probably what people were familiar from the cartoon series. But, you know, this is actually his classic look. The original X-Men, which I believe was released in 1963 or 1969, I'm not exactly sure which, and I may be wrong on both those dates. But the original X-Men were Cyclops, Angel, Beast, Iceman, and Jean Grey, led by Professor X. So there were 5. I hope I didn't repeat anyone there. But yeah, I actually had a reprint of those comics. Magneto was their very first villain, and they did a decent job against him, but I don't think anyone realized that X-Men were going to be as popular. But this costume is very similar to the one that he originally wore. And this is actually his X-Factor costume. And, well, like Cyclops, he's taking a beating. Yeah, not a big fan of Scott here. Though, you know, as I said, he did have his moments with, for example, finding out his brother was Havoc and his dad was an intergalactic space pirate. Good times. Speaking of good times. Sorry, I save all these up for him because why not? Love it. Alright. Yeah, Cyclops is a boss killer. That's what he's designed for, I feel. Alright, and once he bites the bullet, we'll move on to someone else. Yeah, actually, I really liked how Cyclops was portrayed in the first X-Men movie. James Marsden? No, that's not James Marsden. That's, I think that's the guy who plays Spike on Buffy. I forgot his name, but he was actually a really good... I thought he did a pretty good portrayal, of Cyclops. He was the football coach, but he didn't come off as particularly whiny in the first movie. In the second movie, I guess they thought he wasn't whiny enough and tried to overcompensate because, man, he was annoying. And then in X3, you know, I didn't really feel bad that he died. So, I mean, it's one of those things that as it goes on, and man, you think that they have potential to actually make the character likable, and then they just have to kind of ruin it. But as usual, that's the summer's luck. Now, I actually heard a very interesting theory about Cyclops. I don't know if this was in the comic book or if they recently put this as part of the story. But his goggles, his eyes, they put it down that his eyes are actually like a portal to an antimatter universe or some sort of energy realm. And instead of, his eyes just shoot lasers, it's like, no, his eyes are actually like a gateway into this world of pure energy, and that visor is the only thing keeping the energy from escaping. So I thought that was kind of a cool little theory, cool way to look at it. I don't really know, it doesn't really explain Havoc's ability to harness similar types of blasts, or how, Havoc and Cyclops, when they actually use their powers on each other, that's one of the reasons that they find out that they're brothers. Their powers don't work on each other. It's kind of like, they're related. Same thing with, like, in the cartoon when Storm shot Magneto with electricity and it didn't affect him because electricity and magnetism were related. Very similar to that. But, I mean, if you've watched X-Men Days of Future Past, there's some good stuff on the horizon in terms of the X-Men universe. It's really about time after the kind of series of hit and misses that they've had. I mean, they had X3, The Last Stand, which was horrendous. That is the Batman and Robin of the X-Men movies, I feel. And then they did X-Men Origins Wolverine, which had its moments but was pretty abysmal. And then they had the Wolverine. The Wolverine I thought was actually very good and a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, they continued with Days of Future Past. And I'm really not going to spoil it if you haven't seen Days of Future Past, but if you have a dollar theater nearby or even a normal theater that's still playing it, you are doing yourself a really big disservice as a comic book fan if you are not seeing that. Even if you are a fan of the cartoon and not necessarily these movies, you need to watch it because it is outstanding. Alright, I think Blob is the next villain here. Let's see if Psyche can actually be the one to take him on. I always dug the soundtrack to this game. It's like roller skate dance music. Alright. Actually, where I grew up, that was actually one of the places where you could go to play arcade games, was the roller rink. There wasn't a whole lot of places in this, small little New Mexico town where I was originally born, where you could play a lot of arcade games. Oh, there goes Psyche. Good night, sweet prince. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go with Colossus. Now, I have a funny story about Colossus, and it revolves around ScrewAttack.com. I was at A-Kon 25, which is an anime convention in Dallas, Texas, and ScrewAttack.com guys were there, and they did a panel for just their channel and also a for Death Battle, which they did. And that right there was the whole reasoning behind the funny story, because they had a cabinet at, I believe, I don't know if this is the actual word for it, but SEGC or something like that. It's their con, it's their video game con. And they had one of these cabinets with basically unlimited mutant powers, and they just kept on spamming Colossus, that and it became kind of it took a life of its own, and everyone started doing that. And when they told that story at A-Kon, everyone started doing it again. So it was kind of cool to witness that, kind of the mob mentality. But it's an awesome thing to do. I mean, Colossus is probably one of the coolest characters, I thought, in terms of the visual style. And also, the X-Men needed a big heater. They didn't have a Thing or, a Hulk or anything like that. So Colossus is probably, the next best thing. Something that was definitely needed. Oh. Oh! Alright. He's in a bad part of town there. Alright, so. Ow. These guys, I hate these things because they remind me of those, probes from the Ninja Turtles arcade, the ones that had the electric whips and shot the lasers.
Nothing moves the...
Oh! Alright, well, bye Peter, we'll get back to you hopefully. Alright, he's the best at what he does.
Wolverine.
And let's see what we can do here. Oh! And it always bugged me in this game, Wolverine didn't regenerate. You know, people back then kind of took that for granted, that he could regenerate. Let's go. I don't know why they gave him a mace, but I always thought Blob was the hardest one of the bosses. Out of the... Not Magneto, obviously, but... Oh. Okay. Magneto, if I recall correctly, has Chun-Li's speed kick thing. You know, that ha-ha-ha-ha-ha move that she had in the... Oh, man. Alright. Well, you were a disappointment, Wolby. Let's go for Storm. Aurora Munro. And what does she have in her hand?
Nothing moves the blob.
Alright, looks like she has Weather Wizard's staff from DC. Ow, she is fragile. Oh! Goodness. Alright, you go away. That was horrendous. Oh well. We'll move on.
X-Men. We have been taken by Magneto. However, we had time to locate their base on Island M. Destroy it.
There's Juggernaut with Kitty. Exotic locations! Now, if I recall, this was their way of putting the Savage Land into the game, because apparently I believe there's dinosaur people and prehistoric bugs. So, I don't know why they just didn't put it in the Savage Land, but... Oh! See, there's one of the dinosaur people now. More of an alligator than a dinosaur man, but you take what you can get. Ow! Alright, let's keep going here. Now, Aurora Munro actually joined the X-Men as Storm, the same time... Oh, that's cool. The same time as Wolverine. Wolverine, and I believe it was Wolverine, Nightcrawler, Banshee, Colossus, Thunderbird, and I think I'm missing like one or two others, but they all joined the X-Men in giant-sized X-Men #1. The story was the 5 original members of X-Men had gone to this planet because there was a distress call, and something happened to them. And Cyclops somehow survived, but when he woke up after being knocked out, he had no powers. They had... Ow. Fist is a verb. Alright, come on, let me up. There we go. Oh, there goes Aurora. Alright, who's next? Kurt! When Cyclops woke up, his eyes didn't have covers on them. They had no powers. They were just normal eyes. And he was able to pilot the Blackbird back to Xavier, and they recruited a new team to go save the original X-Men. Found out that Cyclops was actually released on purpose, and the entire island that they were on was actually a mutant, a living island. And all the X-Men fought the island and eventually defeated it. But that's how, like, a lot of the X-Men that people know today originally came from, was from giant-sized X-Men #1. So, these guys, those guys looked like the plant from Little Shop of Horrors. Feed me, Seymour! Alright. Different colored sentinels, you know. Old verse, same as the first. Or new verse, same as the first. Alright. Get the dinosaur people. Oh! Yeah, you got to avoid that tail. That tail is deadly. Alright. Kalima! Oh! Alright. This looks... Ow! Alright, come on, Kurt. Let's see here. Ow. Nightcrawler's probably one of my favorite X-Men, probably in my top 3. I love the story of the man of faith who was born to look the way he did, and though he still stayed as a man of faith, loved that character. But loved X-Men in general. A lot of people don't like X-Men. You know, they kind of think it's the B show compared to Avengers, but I loved X-Men. I think it came up from growing up with the cartoon as a kid. And I remember very vividly my first exposure to that cartoon was Pizza Hut sold kids meals, kind of kids meals, but they come with a videotape, and the 2 videotapes they came out had the first 2 story arcs from the X-Men cartoon. It had Night of the Sentinels and Inner Magneto. And each video cassette would have the episode on it, but beforehand it would have a kind of a round table between the people who created X-Men. And Stan Lee was on that panel. And this is the first time I actually really got to see Stan Lee and realize that I actually give Stan Lee more credit as an artist and a creator than I do Walt Disney. Because I think Stan Lee is just, he's going to go down as one of the greatest storytellers of our age. And he still oh, Dinosaur Man used Tail Whip. It was super effective. Alright, who's next? Oh, Dazzler, as in we don't have Jubilee yet. Yeah, not a big fan of Dazzler. Dazzler was originally created as a disco singer mutant. I remember her debut panel. She's, oh, okay, gotta listen to this.
X-Men, welcome to die.
Welcome to die. Should get that on a shirt. Alright, here's some of the things that I think kind of remind me of the Living Island that they fought against. And, oh, that's Wendigo. Alright. See, she's Jubilee. That's pretty much all she is Jubilee. But, you know, it was kind of interesting to sit there and watch the cartoon first and then play this game. And then you kind of was like, where's Jubilee and who is this? But, alright, let's try and get through this as quickly as possible. And I feel no sympathy if she goes. There we go. And this is appropriate for Savage Land to have Wendigo there. Alright, there's she. Who's next? Oh, back to Psych. And that's how you take care of that. Alright.
Go and rescue Kitty from the cave.
Yeah, Kitty Pryde. Now, this game... Oh, Stark Industries Sentinels. This game was actually based off a failed cartoon pilot for an X-Men cartoon known as Pride of the X-Men. Pride spelled P-R-Y-D-E, like Kitty Pryde, like Shadowcat. You can actually find the pilot online, I think, on YouTube, if they haven't removed it. It is very interesting, and you can see it had a lot of potential. The animation was a little bit rough, but I thought it could have been great. The only thing that bugged me when I watched it is the voice actor who did Wolverine did him with an Australian accent. So when you hear Wolverine, you know, with the claws and whatnot, especially in his classic tan and brown uniform, go, "Nothing can stop the X-Men," it kind of completely took you out of that character. So, but it's very interesting to watch. I suggest you go ahead and try and find it. It's definitely worth a look. Speaking of the cartoon, I remember very vividly searching for X-Men stuff online, as you do, and found that in Japan that they showed the X-Men cartoon, the Saturday morning cartoon that was on Fox, in Japan, but they did their own intro to it, using Japanese animation style. And if you look that up, look up X-Men anime, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. It is kind of depressing because it's infinitely better than any of the animation you saw on the actual cartoon. I mean, when you watch that, you really want to watch the anime version of it. I mean, it's got that anime feel to it. It has Magneto summoning an army of Brood. Wolverine fighting Omega Red over the skyline of a city. I mean, doing the anime kind of jumping on the walls and hitting each other like samurai. I mean, it was pretty intense. I felt bad for people who saw that and got their hopes up and then watched the Fox show. But the Fox show did have, you know, decent animation for the time and very good stories, and that's always the most important thing. So, I mean, that was, if you think about it, I mean, with all the kind of gray areas that X-Men have, you know, with all these villains having these legit motivations for the things that they did, it was kind of revolutionary for a cartoon at the time, I felt. I mean, you had the Batman animated series, which is a classic, but, you know, other than Two-Face, you weren't really sympathetic to a whole lot of the villains. But in X-Men, a lot of them you were. But then you'd have your cookie-cutter bad guys like, you know, Mr. Sinister and Apocalypse and whatnot to counteract the Magneto. That is a lot of Sentinels. Alright. Try and clear the rough here. There we go. Alright. And more of them. See, they just had to throw in as many villains as they can, you know, Geonosian soldiers with human-sized sentinels, all working for Magneto. I couldn't think of really a storyline where that would actually happen. Except for this game, I guess. Oh yeah, and Savage People and whatever these things are. Alright, Psych is done. Let's trade out Peter here. Go in Super Saiyan 1. Alright. Oh! Alright. Oh yeah, this is gonna be easy. Get him, Colossus. Yeah! That's how you do it right there. Just bludgeon. Alright. Myrock. Ow. Alright. That was probably an error on my part. It's alright. Ow, 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 ow. Ooh, looks like he's doing the neck breaker there. That's kind of rad. Alright, more Geonosian soldiers. Alright. Oh man, I actually cannot wait for the next X-Men movie, speaking of Days of Future Past earlier. I'm not going to spoil anything for people who haven't seen it, but man, that after credit scene got me really excited. I am so very much looking forward to it. There's Kitty. Oh, and there's Nimrod. Now, Nimrod was the Uber Sentinel, the nasty one. The one during the original Days of Future Past storyline, if I recall, they all ran from. Because this guy was no joke. He assimilated the powers of all the mutants he came in, or he could be immune to them. Which, not really a spoiler, but if you watch Days of Future Past, all the Sentinels were like Nimrod, so that was actually a little bit nasty, or actually not a little bit, a much more nastier future than even the one in the comic book. Goodbye, friend. And it's appropriate Colossus Saber.
You must rescue the professor.
Alright. Seems our professor is in another castle. Let's do it. Alright, we got a new color of Sentinel here. Just as fragile, though. Okay. Just head punchings. Colossus. Russian noogies. Now, if I remember in the comic book how he actually, you know, because X-Men is a gay analogy. That's pretty much kind of what it's insinuating. Is how he discovered his powers, or how he kind of outed himself to the village that he lived in, was he actually rescued a woman, or a little girl, who was running, I think, to go grab her doll or something. A ball, I think it was. It was a ball. It was rolling and ran right into the middle of or was about to run right into the middle of a wheat thresher. And he was a farmer, and I've got to use my power here. And he ran in front of the wheat thresher and actually powered up to protect the girl. And despite the fact that he saved the girl, he destroyed the wheat thresher. Now, keep in mind, this is still the Soviet Union, Russia, so his village couldn't afford another piece of farm equipment, so he was banished. And that's when Xavier found him. But Colossus had always had a good heart, and he's actually a very cool character. I don't really like the big heaters, you know, the strength-based heroes, but his character is very good, I feel. Alright, here's Wolvie, and, you know, probably the most recognizable mutant. Actually, easily the most recognizable mutant. wearing his classic gold and tanned, which remind... Oh, White Queen. Emma Frost. One of the members of the Hellfire Club. One of the nasty X-Men villains in terms of her powers. She was a telepath like Charles and could turn her skin into diamond. However, in the newest comic book, I think she goes back and forth between good and bad, depending on the comic. Doesn't matter now because she's toast. And this looks like little owls throwing proximity charges. Go away. Ow. Ow. Okay. Go up. Ooh. Okay, that actually probably saved me from getting ran over. I'll take it. Alright. Actually, I think the cartoon made Wolverine more popular than all the others. You know, a lot of people will say the X-Men movie did with Hugh Jackman's awesome portrayal of Wolverine. I don't think he's ever done a bad job playing the character. But I think the Fox cartoon is what really put him into the spotlight. I mean, he was already popular in the comic world, but that cartoon just put him in a whole other area. Alright, more Gina. Ooh, alright. By the way, he was never actually able to do the little laser claw thing, but that would have been awesome. Oh, okay. There's a normal-sized sentinel. Puking marauders. Okay, that's interesting. Marauders are basically mercenaries in the X-Men world. I know they worked for Lady Deathstrike before. Strife, who was an X-Force villain, they worked for tons of people. Mr. Sinister as well, if I don't miss my knowledge at all. Speaking of Mr. Sinister in a roundabout way, I'd have to say that my favorite X-Men would have to be Gambit. And whoa, hello Juggernaut. Why do you have that big gun? You don't need it. Oh, see, told you. All right, Storm. Let's see what you can do. Tornadoes for days. There we go. Knock the helmet off. Now, if there was a telepath nearby during those fights, that was the end of the fight right there. And the second Juggernaut lost his helmet, because Xavier and I think Jean Grey on quite a few times he was toast when that went down. However, she doesn't seem to be needing it right now. Ow. Okay, don't. Ow. Didn't even have time to choose my power. All right, Storm. Oh, I was pressing the wrong button on that. Sorry, Storm. I'll make it up to you. Alright. Yeah, I remember Storm when she was first brought in. She was actually worshipped as a goddess in her native village. When Xavier showed up and basically gave her a reality call like, hey, you're not a goddess. You know, you're a person with responsibilities and you need to help the entire world and not just your little area.
X-Men, nice job. Magneto is over there. Follow me.
How'd you get loose? Oh. It's a trap!
Aha, you fell into our trap.
Oh. And Kurt'll do what he normally does and just teleport safely. Alright. Now, gonna go ahead and just work our way slowly, ow, through that. Yes, I meant to do that. I meant to do that too, I promise. Ow. Alright. Oh, Silver Sentinels. However, I'd much rather deal with these than Silver Samurai. Oh. Okay, Yoga Fire. Ow. Alright. Go ahead and stop breathing. Stop breathing. There we go. Now I can get through this. Okay. Okay, walk my way around there. No need to get into risk when you don't need to. Alright. Just because I can, because that's my favorite move in that game. in this game is the teleporter. Okay, more silvers. These guys launch the grenades, so they're okay at close range. Now keep in mind they can still smack you with their bazookas if you're not careful, so be aware of it. Alright. Oh! Pyros! Lots of pyros. And that's the end of that chapter. Alright. Alright, there's some marauders. You know, I have a high-powered rifle. Let's not shoot anyone. Let's just use it to rifle butt them. And ride around and attempt to look menacing. Makes perfect sense. Probably why they're not big villains in the X-Men universe. Ow. However, they seem to make do.
Dazzler.
Ugh. Alright. Let's see if we can get this little guy out of the way here. Oh, actually shot the gun. Probably knew he was fighting Dazzler. Alright. Get the silver sentinels out of the way. I don't remember what the boss of this area was. I think it might be the mirror matches against the other bosses, I think, which will be a bit tough because I hate the blob. Okay. Let's keep going here. Oh! I don't remember these guys. Yeah. You guys remember Pharaoh Scythe? Or Scythe Pharaoh? I do too. He's one of my favorite villains. I remember that one time he did that thing. I love Pharaoh Scythe. I don't know what this is. These guys were never in the comics. Whoever they are. I guess they could be statues of Abin Sur of Apocalypse back before he got the armor, I guess. I bet you're coming alive too. Ah, yep, there you are. Oh! Okay. Let's see here. You seem to be easily... Ah, well, spoke too soon. Let's try and get through here. Yeah, I have no idea. I guess they just ran out of characters or villains at the time. This was also based on the cartoon, so maybe that guy was supposed to show up in the cartoon. Alright, well, Dazzler killed the boss.
X-Men. Magneto is planning to attack Earth from his asteroid base. You must foil his plan before it's too late. Go after the giant sentinel.
It's not a giant sentinel, that's a regular sentinel. And here we are at Asteroid M. Which apparently has its own atmosphere, otherwise this would be a really short level. Alrighty. Let's work our way down here. Fighting through these legions of golden sentinels. Oh! Nice moves by Dazzler there. Gotta give credit where credit's due. Alright. Man! She's vicious! Alright. Well, if she fought like this in the comics, I may take back some of the things I said. Alright. There's the pink line. Ow. Okay. Okay, it takes them a little bit to turn to the next direction, so I think we're going to use that to our advantage to take these guys out. Okay. Let's try... Ow. Alright, I'm just gonna... I've had enough of that. Dazzler, you're about to be traded. Here in a second. There's marauders. Oh. Oh, maybe not. No. You're holding your own well. Ooh. Rifle butt. There we go. Alright. What's next? More marauders. Alright. What's next? More marauders. Oh! Alright. Here we go. Oh! Lots of marauders. Alright. Next up is Cyclops. He'll fight his way through this. No sweat. Cyclops wasn't any slouch in the fighting department. He got better as time. Whoa, Lord.
Moves the blob.
Go away, Blob. You heard me. No. Oh, Lord. Okay, there's... Yo, excellent. Alright, that just made this fight a lot easier. Come here, Wendigo. Oh. It's alright. Still got plenty of fight in him. Uh-huh. One more to go. Jeez. Oh! Alright. Hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. They were an item in some of the newer comics.
Colossus.
And here's Colossus. Which, if you read Ultimate X-Men, this would not be a problem for him. Ow. Alright. Yeah, we're just gonna fight our way through this. I have no patience for it. And you're not moving. That's right. Do I have to fight those Pharaoh things again? Oh, Juggernaut. Forgot about him. Alright. You. Alright. Come on. Come on. That's right. Step up. Did you lose your helmet? That's too bad. Oh! I stopped the unstoppable object. That would never happen in the comics. Well, there's Professor X.
I am Magneto.
The price of monologue is death. Man, Colossus is no joke. He is the punch, punch, punch. Okay, but he's going to take a break for right now. And here's Wolvie, which, you know, the perfect mutant to fight against Magneto. Honestly. However, let's see. Okay, that's enough of you. Ow. Okay. Oh, that's punch. There we go. I keep on forgetting when I'm switching between the characters, I kind of forget the button for the mutant special abilities. So that's why that happened. All right. What a twist!
Alas, that was Mystique, not Magneto.
You don't say,
Magneto
Chuck.
was another place. Go, X-Men.
Oh.
I am Magneto, master of magnet.
Okay.
Shall meet with
I doubt the fact that you actually... Oh, there's that Chun-Li kick. I really doubt that that is Magneto, because the real Magneto would not say something as ineloquent as I am Magneto, master of magnet. So, I'm just going to say that this is an alternate version, and life goes on. Oh! See? You dead. Alright, let's see if Storm can finish him off.
Storm. X.
Okay. With her taser. Ow. Okay. Ah. Alright, they're juggling me. Alright. Gotta wait for him to drop the shield. And I keep on forgetting the stupid tornado button. There we go. You get nothing. You lose. Ugh. Alright, who's next? Alright, Kurt. Yeah, you're having enough of this. Ow. Eric, we need to have a talk about your manners. That's right. Come on. That's what you get. You're all clear, kid. Now let's blow this thing and go home. Awesome. Magneto is defeated. X-Men succeed to rescue Professor and return to Earth with the victory. But still, the battle against the threats of the evil has just begun. The struggle of X-Men will be continued. Man, as you can see, the translation was kind of meh, but it's an awesome game. It says, note the game is not over yet, but it is. It just goes through the credits and then goes right back to the first level for a free replay. But that was X-Men the arcade game, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little trip down memory lane. If you liked the video, click like down below, subscribe if you feel inclined, and we'll catch you all next time. Later days, everyone.